I don't know if you remember back in December when we did our Dear Santa session that somebody had asked us the question, Dear Santa, I would like to learn what accessories I can get to make my lectures resemble Khan Academy, a writing tool such as a pen instead of a mouse. And I don't have lots of experience with this myself. I've done pen casts and made those kinds of videos. But luckily for us, Fanny stepped up and said, hey, I know how to do that. I can answer that question. So I'm actually going to turn it over to you, and maybe you can tell us how it is that you're using it and what kinds of things you prefer to use.
Sure. So let's come back in April 2020 when we have to switch live online with our students. And the question was, how do we replace this huge whiteboard that we have in the classroom that we fill of diagrams, equations, solving problems, that we ask students to come and solve problems by themselves. And we say, oh, let's try to use virtual whiteboard. So we try different applications and different tools, and that's what I will share with you now. First, I want to share a feedback that I got from a student that say, I just wanted to extend my appreciations for this ease of visual with a screen shared whiteboard. Okay, on the right, you have an example of a screen share whiteboard. So I use a picture, I add some forces, geometries on it, and solve the problem on the right. So what do you need if you want to solve problems on a virtual whiteboard? You will need a touch screen or a pad device, mouse pad device. I will show you the different examples. You need a touch pen. You will need a software to write, draw on it, and you will see that you already have a software on your computer for sure. And if you want to record it as a video and put it online, you will need a software to record your screen. If it's in a live class, you will just share your screen during a meeting and you will write on your screen. Different technology that you can use. First, you can use a tablet. So when we think about tablets, we think about Microsoft Surface, iPad, or eventually a computer tablet. There's a large variety of price from 300 to 3,000. So you will connect your device to your meeting. Most of the time you double connected, or you can only use your tablet if you want and connect just your tablet, but think that you will need an independent external camera if you want the student to see you. You can use a touch monitor. It's like your second screen, but you can write on it. So it's connected with HDMI entry, like your second monitor, but you can write on this monitor. Price vary from 200 to 900, and it's really cool because you can see on what you write, but you do not need to connect it to WebEx. It's just a monitor. It's not a computer. Another technology, the cheapest technology that you can use is a mouse pad. Pen pad is replace your mouse. So you connect it with the USB cable and you replace your mouse, but you have a little pad like this black pad there, and you can write on it. Some of them you can see on what you write, some of them you can't. So most of the time you are looking at your screen and writing on your pad. That's a little bit challenging at the beginning, but with a little bit of practice, the results are really great. And price are from 30 to 1,000. So now for the whiteboard software, there's a lot of possibilities. Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, they all include a drawing feature inside. If you want just a large whiteboard, there's Microsoft Whiteboard. Microsoft OneNote is to take notes, as its name says, but you can take notes by hand and you can draw the same way. Snip and Sketch, so it's just your pictures. You can add anything on your picture if you want. So it could be a cool tool just to record some notes that you take around the picture. Everything, all the software are free for us. I will go over PowerPoint, OneNote, and Whiteboard, the one that I use the most. So just a little comparison there. The first one, this line, is with OneNote. The second one is with PowerPoint, and the third one is with Snip and Sketch. So you see the interface and the drawings tools are very, very similar. You always have the lasso, that is very useful. Eraser, different pen, pencil, highlighters. One thing that I use a lot, the ruler. You also have the ink to math, so you can write any equations and click on ink to math and it will write it as a math equation. I will show you this. So the PowerPoint interface, what is really great is like most of us, we do have some PowerPoint presentations ready, right? So we have our PowerPoint presentations and let's say we can can make a second version of the PowerPoint with some white space, and we can solve our problem. So we have our picture. So this picture was from the presentation, already presentation, and the presentation was provided by the editor of the book. And after that, I just solve it on the right, step by step. The advantage is that you use your own slide that already exists, and you just add information on it. You can record your narration. So you can record your steps inside your PowerPoint. So when students click on next slide, your narrations come for this slide is running at the same time. You can also, of course, record a video on it. Include tables for clarity. That's something that I use a lot in PowerPoint. You can prepare a table and after just fill it during your presentation. So it will be easier to be well organized, and you can add different tools around. Some negative points about PowerPoint interface. It's not an infinite space, so you will need to add slides. And sometimes I have to remember what I wrote on the previous slide because I don't have enough space on one slide. I don't want to make it too crowded. So I write it on one side. But for short problems, is really great. You can't use Google Slides. You need to be on PowerPoint. I didn't find any nice add-on to draw in Google Slides. Like this one, I cannot draw on it at the same time as I have my presentation. On PowerPoint, you can use the presentation mode and write on it. So it's very clean. You don't see the little slide on the side or the notes, speaker notes, nothing like that. And one thing that I like to use is I really like to have my cheating sheet on my second monitor. So the PowerPoint with the answers, so you can check that I have the right answer when I record my video at the same time. Or you can use the presentation mode with your notes on one monitor and you write on the presentation monitor when you have two different screens. So for PowerPoint, I will show you little demonstrations with the PowerPoint. Here we go. Just need to switch my monitors. Here we go. So here I have my presentations, and you see on the back, you have this little icon there with pen, highlighter, laser pointer, eraser. So you can draw on your slide now. For example, I prepare this table, and we will fill these tables one step at a time. So in this column, we will find twice x, that will be 2 times 2, that will be 4. And this one, we will find the minus 5y with the y equal 5, that is minus 25. And when we want the sum of both of them, 2x minus 5y, which just do the sum that is minus 21. Second row, 2x is equal to 6, minus 5y minus 1 times minus 5 is 5, and 6 plus 5 is 11. So it's really easy for the students to follow one step at a time, and my advice is to give them in advance the slide with the empty spot so they can fill it at the same time. I made it too, so you have the first one and the second one. You can erase, you can change color if you want. So let's say the second line, I want to make it in blue, and you can highlight. You have the highlighter, you have it yellow. For example, you want to highlight the minus, and minus that give plus, or plus times minus that give us minus, if you want to insist on some important points in your presentation. When you are done, you can end show, and you can keep your annotations if you want, and you can save your slide with all the annotations or take screenshot, and after that share with your students. So we all have PowerPoint, and in Excel and in Word, that does work the exact same way. Now let's speak about Microsoft Whiteboard. As its name explains it, it's a huge whiteboard. It's infinite. You can scroll to the right, to the left. You can zoom in, zoom out. The interface is a little bit different. You see the color there. You have a little bit more that you can save. So the blue, the one that I use the most, I save on the left. One highlighter, same thing, the ruler, the lasso. And you can also write on it something. That's great. So you can just make a nice title if you want. I did include the picture, and I drew on the picture there, as you can see. So the plus of the Microsoft Whiteboard interface. So this picture on the right is how it's saved. When you open your app, you will see all the little whiteboards. So the first thing that I will say is one of the biggest challenge with Microsoft Whiteboard is your whiteboards are saved by date, and you cannot organize them by folder. So it's a little bit challenging when you begin to have a lot. One great thing with this tool is collaborative. So it's saved on your Microsoft account, Maricopa Microsoft account, and you can add collaborators to one Microsoft Whiteboard. And you have infinite space, and I did use them a lot. Because it's saved on your Microsoft account, it's kind of an online app. It's on your computer, but it's always linked to your account. It's not available when you can't log in like now. So for the demonstration of Whiteboard, I did a video that I did a long time ago. So you see, I copy-paste the picture on the background, and after that, draw on it. And what I want to show you is I do use some line to organize my equations to not confuse too much. So you can draw lines before, or you can draw them when you make it. But my advice there is to think about your organizations and how you will solve your problems before filling your whiteboards. And sometimes I ended up having like equation a little bit everywhere, but you need to keep left to right, from up to down. That's something that makes sense for the students. So OneNote interface, the third software, that's the one that I use the most now, and mainly because what you see on the left is you can organize by folder. But otherwise, it's really like the Microsoft Whiteboard interface, except the fact that you can organize your folder and you can click on this button and your menu will be hidden. So you have more space. Same thing, you can copy paste some images and you can draw on the right. You have the same tools, colors, lasso. You have some shapes that are pre-coded that you can insert. You can transfer in math, and you have the ruler that I use all the time. I will show you in the demonstration of the OneNote. Okay, so one of the biggest plus in comparison with the Microsoft Whiteboard software is your folders to organize your notes. You have infinite space around except above the title because there's a title, and when you are done you can save as a PDF and share the PDF. So about the demonstrations for the OneNote, you see I did section LOL and I create demonstrations. So there I write demonstration in it. I can close now my menu so I have more space. So that's what the students see. Let's say I want to solve a little problem in statics. I want to draw a beam. So I grab the ruler and I can tilt the ruler. I use my fingers to tilt the ruler and I can draw a beam. Tilt if I want to make like vertical edges on the side, and this is my beam. So I use this ruler all the time, very easy to use. You just click back on ruler and it disappears. I will add my support. So on the left is what we call a pin connections, and on the right it will just be a roller connection, so it just like support it with a normal force. And let's say we have a force that we know that is applied there, that is 150 pounds on this beam, and we have some dimensions. On the left is 1 feet and on the right it will be 4 feet. And we have two forces on the left because it's a pin connection, and one force is on the right. Here we go. I will not go too much in details, but just to show you what it's look like when I draw and make it at the same time. So we do the sum of the moment about the point A that is equal to 0 because we are in a statics problem, and what we have the 150 pound that tends to rotate in the negative directions. So we have the 150 times 1 feet in the negative directions, and we have the force, normal force NB at the point B, time the total distance, and this total distance is 1 plus 4, it's 5 feet, times 5, it's equal to 0. We ended up to have NB equal 150 divided by 5, so we got NB equal 30 pounds. And we can highlight our answer. And that's it. If we want, we can highlight it with the highlighter too. And there's different size. That's a great size. If you want, you can change your color for the highlighter. I use highlighter or draw colors all the times. And after that, you can move right and save another problem. You can make it smaller to add more text on the bottom. You can make it bigger, you can zoom in, zoom out, very easy to manage. About the math equations, I'll show you what it looks like. I'll make it a little bit bigger. So 1 divided by x plus 5 is equal to times y. And you want to make it in math, I think you need to select it first with your lasso and click on math, and you will, yes, so you select your lasso and you will, oh, can I fix it? Click on the parts that need to be fixed. Can I fix it? It doesn't understand my axe. I have some problems sometimes because I do my equations a little bit different. So let's see. I will try to redo my axe. Probably like this. It will work better. Let me select again my equations, and here we go. Now we have into math, and I have my equation in math. And I can make it bigger, smaller. Shape, you have some pre-recorded shapes, and some that are great is like the little X and Y axes if you want to use them. I personally draw them by hand. Yeah, I do my X, oops, I and Y. I'm used to do my X like this one, cursive X. Anyway, so a lot of great tools. I mean, there's not a lot of tools, but just what we need to solve a problem. So that's really my favorite one. and you can print in PDF after that for your student to share with your students. And you keep them, you will have all of them in your folder and you can go back on them anytime. Sorry for the little long demonstration on OneNote. That's really my favorite one. Okay, let's come back. How do you record your problem that you solve? There's different software. Snagit is the one that I use the most because there's no time limit. And one thing that I really enjoy is like there's no time to process the video. So you record video and you click done and your video is on your computer. And after that you can download it on YouTube. That takes a little bit of time, but not so much. But you can't include your camera, at least with the version that I have. But it's really a great tools for the fact that there is no time limit and there's no time processing time. Screencast-O-Matic, free for when you want to record less than 15 minutes. After that you have to pay. I don't remember how much exactly. You can include your video, so you have the choice to select the screen, the webcam, or both of them together. But there's a little bit long processing time. It's not so bad, but if you want to record like 4 videos in a row, you need to wait between each video. Another software to record is OBS. That's the software that use the gamers, but it's free and you can have your camera, you can have many things inside your scene that you record. Like for example, you can have you with the green background, and behind you, you will have your whiteboard that you write on it. So it's very cool. It's a bit more complicated than Snagit. You need to practice a little bit. And you can record, save your setup. Like say you record always this software and this one, you can save them and use them all the time. You can use a meeting and record your meeting, and you can save that in your WebEx and Google Meet. The only thing that I find it like it's like you lost a little bit space because you have your videos or camera or chat or depending on the way it's made, and it's not as good quality as a software like Snagit, for example. And one thing, I just thought, make sure nobody is joining your meeting. When you use meeting space, that is common to people to come in the meeting. Oh, that's just an example of this one, and you will have the link just to show that. Just to illustrate the next slide, where you need to think a little bit on your organization of your video and your whiteboard and your steps to solve your problems before you begin. To use all the space, like a rectangular space, not like a very tiny, thin rectangle. You try to use all the space on your screen and divide in different parts if needed. Try to keep the same size, because when you zoom in and zoom out, sometimes you begins to change the size font. So just an example of a video that I think was nice. I use the space as much as I can. And you see this title there, like distributed load of usual shapes. He was writing with a font tool inside the Microsoft Whiteboard. Recommendations, general recommendations. So think about your organizations before you begin to record your video. Put your steps and answer on another monitor or notebook. So I always have my cheating sheets, especially when it's very long problems to solve with a lot of sign and mistake can be made. I prefer to have my steps so I can check my intermediate steps and answers, because it's always sad when you record a 20-minute video and you made a mistake at the end. You can pause your video if needed, like for example in Snagit, or there's a pause button, use it. You have a kids coming in your room, pause your video. And if you don't pause and you have kids coming, that's completely fine. It's happened to me. Remove any app and pop-up. So like, for example, you record your video and you have a pop-up coming with the students asking you questions from a chat feature. You need to remove that. After that, you cannot publish it because there is a name of a student. So my advice is like, make sure that you close all your app or slide them on the other monitor so your pop-up will go on the other monitor. When you record your video, think long-term. Make the video as neutral as possible. So don't say, hey, this semester class, or this time, or good morning, or some specific informations, because otherwise for next semester, students will really feel like, oh my God, this video was not made for us. It doesn't mean that you don't have to do a specific video every week for your students, but maybe not the one where you solve problems if you want to reuse them. And remove copyright content to create your own content if you want to make them public. And last slide for the conclusions. Your whiteboard, your virtual whiteboard is exactly like your whiteboard in your classroom. Use the space, make drawings, use colors, everything that you like. It's not limited to equations. I share a lot of equations and everything, but you can make diagrams, drawings, mind maps. I use mind maps a lot with my students, and I encourage them to use whiteboards. They can just take notes, and also for collaborative works is awesome. I recommend to students, if they want to take notes and or do their assignments too, at the beginning of the semester, I always make them demonstrations and some of them use them. And that's it. Thank you for sticking with me, and let me know if you have any questions.
So if you have any questions or suggestions, or you, like Fanny, would like to volunteer to present something and share with other faculty, you can go to the LOL suggestion box, bit.ly/LOL suggestion box. It's capital LOL, lowercase suggestion box. It is case sensitive. And if you needed a copy of today's slides, you can go to bit.ly/LOL, capital LOL hyphen whiteboards. That will get you your own forced copy of today's slides, which has links to the videos that Fanny was showing and also other resources. And in a couple of weeks, we have people who have volunteered to sort of reflect on this very bizarre year that we have had. So we hope that you'll be able to join us for that as well. And if you want any of the old LOL sessions, those are available. You can see today's online whiteboard session. As soon as I've got the editing finished, then I will post that as well. Have you tried it all just a document camera, or do you know anybody who has?
A doc camera? We have doc camera in our classrooms in engineering, and we use them sometimes when we do something on the calculator and we want to show the students what we are doing in the calculator. And we use it sometimes when we draw something on a page, and it's easier to draw on the page or using a table than on the whiteboard. And I know some teachers are using them in their live class. Yes, I do not personally, but some do, yes.
Oh, there it is. I have a friend who teaches math at Mesa, and if anybody is interested, she's the one who recommended this guy, and it's, I think, $69 on Amazon. And this is it. This is your document camera. Of course, I have to get it open first. It's funny, I can handle the technology, but not the box that it comes in. It's really tiny. That's it. That's the whole camera.
Oh, yeah.
So there's your doc cam. Comes with a little pad that you can put your paper on and write on. It just plugs straight into your laptop, and then you just switch what screen you want to show. And it lets you switch to the document camera screen in your live meetings or to record it. And I noticed, although I haven't played very much with it, that there are Google add-ons for Google Sheets or Google Docs that lets you hook the camera into whatever you're working on. I could imagine, like, what if you could use it with Jamboard, or what if you could use it with the live presentations. When I did play with it, it mostly was taking screenshots from the camera, so I haven't figured out yet if I can include video in some collaborative document, but I'm gonna mess around with it some more and see. But my friend at Mesa said she uses it all the time. It was $69. She was flying home to Missouri for something, and she said, I just held my live office hours at the airport and had my laptop out and had my office hours with my students while I was waiting for my plane to show up.
Yeah, I think it's great if we are not used too much to the pen and the touchpad, and because sometimes it's a bit hard to have a nice handwriting with that. It's a good way to just have a piece of paper and make it. And also for the calculator, I show them a lot of things, how to program in the calculator and things like that. And sometimes I struggle to find emulator on internet, so that could be great. We can show the steps on. There's a lot of videos, and including in my field, made with a kind of doc camera. That's true that I think you can use your phone camera if you have a good phone, or you can use an external camera if you just attach it to the wall or something like nicely.
So having not used this, I was just trying to get the direction right on it.
And something that is great is like you do not have to share your screen, so we can see it a little bit bigger because of the Google Meet options. If I change the full screen, or just see one person or two person. And I have a colleague that she's using OBS as a camera. She doesn't have to share anything at all. Just the camera is her monitor or screen with the whiteboard, and her in small in the corner. So exactly the same way that you will record for video.
Right,
but
with more Screencast-O-Matic work.
Yes, but it's with the OBS and it's inside the meeting. So it's make everything bigger, and you can add different apps on top of each other with OBS. And yeah, that will be great that we have a little bit... I'm good now with OBS, but not good enough for the quality of my videos. I don't know, I struggle a little bit with that. But there's so many options, and it's free, that I really think we should all have a little training on that.
Just out of curiosity, I'm trying to decide if this is a me thing. When I drew this set of axes and I draw my X and my Y, are you seeing them the way they should be shown or backwards?
I see them in the correct directions.
Okay, because mine is showing it backwards. Like sometimes when you're in your meeting and you see yourself mirrored instead of the way you would expect to. As long as I don't look at the screen, I'm fine because I can show you my supply and my demand curve on here and show the changes. And it seems like my lighting's not the best lighting right here, but it seems pretty visible.
Yeah, some person that do that, they use a Sharpie.
Yes.
They use Sharpie for that,
Yes.
and the scent the smell is tough, but it's really easier to see
Yeah.
what they write on them.
I would probably just go get a big set of those little flare felt tip markers that they have at Sam's Club or Costco, because it's a lot of
Yeah.
colors. They're a little thicker.
Yeah, and it's look a little bit blurry. Maybe it's less on the right, but it's not. I mean, I can read everything, but I don't know if it's.
There is a certain amount of adjusting I can do.
Oh, here is great. When you are close, we can see very well. There is perfect.
Get closer. See, I'm totally being thrown off by the fact that it's backwards.
Yeah.
I would have to get accustomed to that and get more used to seeing it, but yeah.
Yeah, here is great. Here we can see very well.
As you say, if you're very old school and you just don't like or can't get used to writing digitally
Yes.
on something, then this could be a good compromise.
Yes, exactly.
And it didn't take anything extra. It just plug it in.
Yeah.
I'd like to. I have so many little toys and things that I've picked up, but haven't really had the time to use and test. So
No, and for the tools, we all use different tools. And I learned, for example, of the second monitor, the Ions Canvas that I share in the presentations is one of our colleagues actually that bought it like 2 weeks ago, and she said, hey, look, and I want to try and everything. And it's great because it's a second monitor, so it does not require to log in. It does not require to install Microsoft or anything on it. It's just a monitor, but you can write on it.
oh, nice.
So
The touch.
so you see, it's not a tablet, it's not a pad. It's like really like a second monitor that you add with your HDMI cable, and you can write on it. I think it's a great option, and the price is between the pad and between the tablet. So it's a great options too. And I think you don't need to try all the tools. Just pick one and practice, and they are all very valuable and they work well.
I have. Someday, when we see each other again, I had my niece make little stickers for everybody who's been to So I'll Leave You.
Oh, so cool! That's really cool.
I have one for the people who are more like panelists and one for people more like yourself and Scott and April who've come in as like guest speaker, guest presenters. So there's two versions. So it's badges, but real badges.
Yeah, that's really cool. Really, really cool. Thank you for your niece.